What happened to our nation's values that these tragedies had occurred? Our values that emphasize freedom of belief and of practicing those beliefs stated in our nation's philosophical foundation in the 1945 Constitution. Let's take a look, shall we? They said every person shall be free to choose and to practice the religion of their choice, that they have the right to be free from discrimination and right to protection for when it occurs. They said the state guarantees everyone the freedom of worship according to their own religious belief, that our nation encourages a just and civilized humanity for all Indonesians. Though it was never officially declared, the aforementioned values all lead to religious pluralism, which is the harmonious coexistence between different religions. It is a concept of religion that is most emphasized by our nation's values and is of the highest virtue, yet one that we're struggling the most with. It is also sadly long gone from implementation within our collective actions, which we must strive to return for the sake of our nation. Home to more than 300 ethnic groups, 6 different religions, and around 300 languages, Indonesia's diversity inevitably requires consciousness, understanding, and acceptance. Pluralism then should not only be taught at schools, but embraced in practice. So how is it that these tragedies still happen along the way?
In the May of 1998, riots broke out in several Indonesian cities such as Jakarta, Medan, and Surakarta, inciting counts of mass violence, civil unrest, and ethnically charged manslaughter and mass rape. This was the 1998 tragedy, an event that took place in the span of a few days but devastated so many. Over 1,000 people were killed over the course of the incident, and 152 or so raped as part of an ethnically charged protest against the Chinese population in Indonesia, the people's scapegoat for the aftermath of the Asian financial crisis. For a country that earned a name for itself as being one of the most moderate, this gruesome event was a bloody stain on that reputation. To this day, the government has no idea how such a widespread disaster could have occurred. With the end of Suharto's regime in 1998, religion in Indonesia went through a resurgence as previous efforts to keep religion out of politics and the public front disappeared to give way for the rise of a more conservative Indonesian culture, backed by foreign interests and imports of fundamentalist religious concepts from abroad. This point in time marked a transition in Indonesian history, as Indonesia's myriad cultures fought to reassociate their dominant identities throughout the country, leading up to the events that make up how the country stands today.
The Maluku Islands sectarian conflict was a point of turmoil instigated by the political instability post-Suharto, leaking out into intercommunal conflicts between Christian and Islamic groups that frequently broke out into extended violence. Nearly 4,000 people from both faiths were killed over the span of the 18 months it took for the Indonesian government to de-escalate tensions. The conflict grew to the point where the United Nations considered intervention, an act that was denied by then Indonesian President Abdurrahman Wahid Gus Dur. Despite the conflict officially drawing to a close with the signing of the Malino Second Accord in the February of 2002, the racial tensions didn't simply vanish, merely subsiding slightly, with feelings still being harbored to the present day, and occasionally surfacing in the forms of riots or other violent displays.
Blasphemy charges held against Basuki Purnama arose as a result of his opposition pressing the issue of his use of Quranic scriptures in a negative light. However, the underlying stigmatization of Ahok's character lies deep within the religious intolerance towards the people of his faith, Christianity, and emboldening the fundamentalist Islamic group to act under this banner, bringing both hardliners and moderates to unite against a fear against people of Ahok's kind. With the cloudy past of the 1998 tragedy and the distrust towards Christians, fire starters such as the FPI and its ringleader, Habib Rizik, were able to scapegoat Ahok and paint him in an extremely negative light for a great majority of the population. This was in spite of his positive contributions to Jakarta's infrastructure and anti-corruption stances.
It is never too late for us to start and play a major part in making a change for the better, educating not just ourselves but the people around us about the importance of being able to coexist and live up to the values bestowed upon the proclamation more than half a century ago, starting by being conscious of these differences to understanding and accepting them, and live as an integrated society, collectively contributing to the growth and development of the nation and all its people. Being the largest archipelago in the world, with islands that spread up more than 17,000, It is a pivotal concern and agenda for the government to fulfill an equal distribution of quality education thoroughly. As does many things go, the core of a person's character and belief is fostered from a very young age. It is also important that families as well as massive platforms to help promote and encourage our youth in being able to withhold a certain pride and positivity towards our principles and values by example.